All right, so are you ready to kind of like unlock some of the secrets behind the Quran's incredible impact? Today's deep dive is going to be a real mind bender.
Okay.
We're going to be looking at how this ancient text uses language
Okay.
in ways that you just don't see in modern writing.
Yeah.
Get ready for some serious aha moments because we're talking grammatical shifts,
Right.
audience switches, even time warps,
Uh-huh.
all crafted to draw you in as a reader.
Yeah.
And if you are digging these deep dives,
Okay.
hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes.
It's really remarkable.
Yeah.
There's actually an Arabic term for this kind of linguistic artistry.
Oh, cool.
It's iltifat,
Iltifat.
meaning to turn.
Okay.
And that's precisely what the Quran does. It turns the reader's attention,
Okay.
evokes emotions, and even subtly underscores theological points through these shifts.
So it's not just beautiful language for the sake of beauty.
No.
There's a real purpose behind it.
Absolutely. Every shift, every grammatical choice is incredibly deliberate.
Okay, well, let's dive into a specific example.
Sure.
One thing that really blew me away was how the Quran refers to God in different grammatical persons.
Okay.
I mean, you'd expect a divine text to have this consistent authoritative voice, right?
I think so, but the Quran is far more dynamic than that.
Oh, wow.
It switches between first person plural, like we, third person he, and first person singular I when referring to God.
Okay.
And each form has a distinct effect.
That's so interesting. It's like there are different sides to God's personality being revealed through these choices.
Exactly.
What do you think is the most impactful use of, let's say, the first person plural, the we form?
The we form, sometimes called the majestic plural, is often used to emphasize God's grandeur and power, particularly when describing creation.
Right.
For example, in Surah Taha, verse 55, God says, "From it, the earth, we created you to it. We will return you, and from it, we will bring you forth another time."
It really evokes a sense of awe and majesty, doesn't it?
It totally does. It's like you can almost hear the echo of creation in that we.
Yeah.
It makes you feel the immensity of God's power.
Precisely. It's not just stating a fact, it's drawing the reader into the experience of creation,
Wow.
reminding them of God's all-encompassing role.
Okay.
And this connects to a core theological principle in Islam,
Okay.
Tawhid, the oneness of God.
Tawhid.
The we form doesn't imply multiple gods.
Right.
It highlights the multifaceted nature of God's power.
That's such a crucial point. And it really shows how these grammatical choices aren't just stylistic flourishes.
No.
They're deeply intertwined with Islamic theology.
Exactly. Now, when the Quran uses he to refer to God, it often presents his attributes and actions as objective truths, almost like a cosmic law.
I see.
This reinforces the message of monotheism by presenting God as the ultimate singular source of everything.
So it shifts from the personal
to this more universal, almost scientific perspective.
Yes. Think about Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 29. It states, "It is he who created for you all of that which is on the earth. Moreover, he directed himself to the heaven and made them 7 heavens, and he is knowing of all things." It's a very clear factual statement that leaves no room for doubt.
Right. There's no emotional pleading or persuasion needed.
Right.
It's simply stating a truth about God's creation and knowledge.
Precisely. And then we have the I form, which is used much more sparingly and often creates a sense of direct, intimate communication. This is frequently found in divine promises, warnings, or crucial moments in prophetic history.
So it's reserved for those times when God wants to really get our attention.
Yes. It creates a sense of immediacy, like God is speaking directly to you.
Wow.
One powerful example is in Surah Al-Af, verse 172, where God addresses humanity directly, saying, "When your Lord took from the children of Adam their offspring from their loins and made them testify against themselves, 'Am I not your Lord?' they said, 'Yes, we testify.'"
Wow, that verse always sends chills down my spine. It feels so personal and profound.
It really captures the essence of our primordial covenant with God.
Yeah?
That moment of recognition and acceptance of his lordship is emphasized through that powerful I
It's amazing how much depth and nuance is packed into those single-letter pronouns.
Yeah.
It really changes the whole feel of the verse.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's just one example of how the Quran uses grammatical shifts to create such a dynamic and engaging reading experience.
Speaking of engaging, I noticed how the Quran isn't afraid to switch between different audiences as well.
Right.
It's almost like it's aware of multiple listeners and tailors its message accordingly.
You're exactly right. These audience shifts are another fascinating aspect of iltifat. The Quran seamlessly moves between addressing different groups, sometimes even within the same verse, to emphasize a point or evoke a particular feeling.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting for me.
Okay.
I noticed a few places where it seems like the Quran starts talking to someone,
Yeah.
then shifts to talking about them in the third person.
Right.
What's the purpose of that kind of shift?
That's a technique often called distancing for humiliation.
Okay.
It highlights the negative consequences of disobedience by creating a separation between the listener and those being criticized.
So it's like saying, look at what they did.
Yes.
Don't be like them.
Precisely. It makes the listener reflect on their own actions and choices.
Oh.
A good example is in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 57.
Okay.
God reminds the Israelites of his blessings, then shifts to the third person to talk about their ingratitude. He says, "We shaded you with clouds and sent down on you manna and quails. Eat of the good things we have provided you. And they did not wrong us, but rather they were wronging themselves."
That shift to the third person is so subtle, yet it creates this sense of distance and even disapproval. It's like saying, see how they messed up, even after all we did for them.
Exactly. It invites the listener to think, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes.
Wow.
It's a powerful way to encourage self-reflection and warn against repeating the mistakes of others.
But it's not always about negative examples, right?
No.
There are also shifts that seem designed to uplift or honor the listener.
Absolutely. The Quran also uses this shift to create a sense of intimacy and closeness.
Okay.
Especially when describing the rewards for the righteous.
Right.
For instance, look at Surah At-Tur, verses 17-19.
Okay.
It describes the bliss of paradise, saying, "Indeed, the God-conscious will be in gardens and bliss, enjoying what their Lord has given them, and their Lord protected them from the punishment of hellfire. Eat and drink in satisfaction for what you used to do."
Okay.
The sudden shift to a direct address makes it feel like a personal invitation from God.
It does. It's incredibly motivating. It's like God is saying, welcome home. You've earned this.
Exactly. And this is all achieved through a simple shift in perspective, a testament to the power of iltifat.
Okay, my mind is already buzzing.
Good.
So we've seen how the Quran uses different voices for God and even plays with audience perspective.
Right.
What other linguistic tricks does it have up its sleeve?
Well, hold on to your hats because we're about to time travel a bit.
Oh.
The Quran also plays with time by shifting between past and present tenses.
Time twists.
Yeah.
I am so intrigued. Tell me more.
It all comes down to the clever use of perfect and imperfect tenses.
Okay.
The perfect tense indicates a completed action, usually in the past,
Right.
while the imperfect tense implies an ongoing or incomplete action, often in the present.
Okay.
But the Quran doesn't always stick to these conventional rules.
Oh.
It sometimes shifts from the future tense to the past tense, especially when talking about the afterlife.
So it's like the future is so certain it's already happened.
Exactly. This creates a sense of immediacy and emphasizes the reality of the afterlife.
Wow.
Take, for example, Surah Al-Kahf, verse 47. It describes Judgment Day, saying, "On the day when we will set the mountains in motion, you will see the earth leveled. And we gathered them, and we did not leave anyone behind." Notice how it shifts from the future tense.
Okay.
We will sit, you will see,
Yeah.
the past tense.
Okay.
We gathered, we did not leave.
Oh, wow, yeah. That shift makes it sound like those final events are already etched in stone,
Yeah.
already part of history.
Precisely. It's like the Quran is compressing time, making the consequences of our actions feel much more immediate and real.
Okay.
And that brings us to another fascinating aspect of tense shifts.
Okay.
So the Quran also uses them to connect the past struggles of prophets to the present-day challenges of believers.
So it's creating a sense of continuity.
Yeah.
Like saying, hey, you're not alone in this. Others have faced similar trials, and God was with them then just as he is with you now.
That's a great way to put it. It's all about finding relevance and connection across time. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. The Quran is filled with these incredibly nuanced uses of language that add layers of meaning and impact to its message.
This is already blowing my mind, and we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
What other linguistic gems are we going to uncover?
Well, get ready to revisit those case endings from high school because they play a crucial role in the Quran.
Wait, you're telling me those tiny grammatical markers can actually change the entire meaning of a verse?
Absolutely. And not just case endings, but also the way negations are used.
Wow.
The Quran is incredibly precise with its language, and every detail matters.
Okay, you've officially piqued my curiosity.
Yeah.
Let's dive into some examples and see what hidden layers of meaning we can uncover.
I'm ready when you are. Let's start with one of my favorite examples.
Okay.
The story of Abraham and his encounter with the angels.
Okay.
You remember how they greet him, right?
Yeah, they say peace. It's a simple greeting.
Right.
But there's something so profound about it in that context.
Exactly. And that's where those case endings come into play. In Arabic, the angels say Salaman,
Salaman.
which means peace, but with a specific case ending that makes it the object of a verb. It's like they're saying, we convey peace to you in that specific moment.
So it's a very present in the moment kind of peace they're offering.
Precisely. But then Abraham responds with Salaman,
Salaman.
same word piece, but a different case ending.
Wow.
This time, it's not tied to any specific action or time frame.
It's like he's taking their greeting and expanding it into something much bigger, something timeless.
You got it. It's as if he's saying, may peace be upon you not just now, but always from all sources.
Wow.
It's a beautiful invocation, a blessing that transcends the immediate situation.
Wow. I never would have caught that nuance on my own. It really adds a whole other layer of meaning to that interaction.
And think about the context.
Eddie.
Abraham is actually feeling uneasy about these mysterious visitors.
Yeah.
Yet he still offers this all-encompassing peace.
It really speaks to his character, his generosity of spirit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a testament to his unwavering faith and his deep commitment to peace, even in the face of uncertainty.
Yeah.
And it's all conveyed through a single, subtle grammatical shift.
That's incredible. Okay, I'm starting to see how these case endings are like little keys that unlock hidden depths of meaning in the Quran. What other examples come to mind?
Well, let's look at the phrase beautiful patience,
Okay.
which appears in the story of Jacob, also known as Israel, and also in a verse where God is comforting the Prophet Muhammad during a time of hardship.
Yeah, I remember those instances. It's such a poignant phrase, especially in the context of Jacob's trials.
Exactly. And again, those case endings make all the difference.
Okay.
When Jacob says, Fesabrin Jamalin, so beautiful patience,
Okay.
the case ending implies that this patience is continuous, ongoing.
Yeah.
He has no idea when his suffering will end, so he embraces patience as a way of life.
It's like he's surrendering to the unknown, trusting that God has a plan.
Yes. But when God uses the same phrase,
Okay.
Sabrin Jamalin, in Surah Al-Mari, verse 5, the case ending suggests that this patience is time-bound.
Okay.
And that makes sense because...
Because God immediately follows it with reassurance.
Yeah.
They see it as distant,
Mm-hmm.
but we see it as near.
Precisely. It's like God is saying, hold on, relief is coming. This hardship won't last forever.
Right.
The case ending subtly emphasizes the temporary nature of the trial.
These subtle shifts in meaning are just mind-blowing to me. You start to realize how much attention to detail went into crafting the Quran.
Absolutely. And it's not just about those case endings.
Right.
The Quran also plays with negations in really fascinating ways.
Okay.
It distinguishes between general negations, which allow for exceptions,
Okay.
and absolute negations, which are completely uncompromising.
Okay, so it's like saying no talking in class,
Right.
but maybe whispering's okay.
Yeah.
Versus a flat-out no exceptions rule.
That's a great analogy. And these distinctions are crucial for understanding certain theological concepts in the Quran. One of the most well-known examples is the Muslim declaration of faith.
Okay.
La ilaha illallah. There is no God but God.
Right.
The word for God, ilaha,
Okay.
has a case ending that signals an absolute negation.
Hmm.
It's like saying there is absolutely positively an other God worthy of worship except God.
So it's not just about belief, it's about making a definitive statement about the nature of God.
Exactly. And this absolute negation is essential for understanding the concept of tawhid in Islam.
Right.
It reinforces the idea that there's only one unique and absolute God.
It's like drawing a line in the sand and saying this is non-negotiable.
Right, but then you have other verses where the negation is more general, implying that there might be specific exceptions.
Okay.
Take, for example, Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 254.
Okay.
It describes Judgment Day as a day with no bargaining, no friendship, and no intercession.
So it seems like everyone's on their own, facing judgment without any outside help.
That's how it appears at first glance. But the word for intercession,
Okay.
shafatun,
Okay.
has a case ending that indicates a general negation.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what?
Right.
The very next verse clarifies, saying, "Who is it that may intercede with him except by his permission?"
So there's a possibility of intercession,
Right.
but only in specific situations with God's explicit consent. It's like a loophole in the rule.
Exactly. The general negation allows for those exceptions.
Oh, well.
And in Islamic tradition, there are certain instances where intercession is believed to be possible, such as the Prophet Muhammad interceding for his followers.
It's amazing how the grammar of the Quran allows for these nuances of meaning and exceptions to the rule.
It certainly keeps us on our toes as readers.
It does.
It encourages us to look beyond the surface and consider the deeper implications of the language.
Okay, I'm really starting to see how these tiny grammatical details can have massive implications for our understanding of the Quran.
They really do. And it's not just about individual words or phrases. The Quran also uses sentence structure and word order to emphasize certain concepts.
That reminds me of something I read about the placement of objects before verbs in a sentence.
Right.
It can create this sense of exclusivity,
Yeah.
like saying only do this or that.
You're right on the mark. It's like shining a spotlight on the most important element of the sentence.
Okay.
And the Quran uses this technique masterfully to emphasize the oneness of God. For example, in Surah Az-Zumar, verse 66, it says, Bari laha fabud, rather God worship.
By putting God first.
Yeah.
It's like saying worship only God.
It says.
No other deities, no distractions.
Precisely. It's a subtle but incredibly powerful way to reinforce the core principle of Tawhid.
Right. And this attention to detail extends beyond grammar. The Quran also employs a range of rhetorical techniques
Yes.
to create an impactful and emotionally resonant experience for the reader.
It's about making the message come alive.
So it's not just about conveying information.
No.
It's about evoking a certain feeling in the reader.
Precisely. Now remember our deep dive into Surah Al-Anbiya, verse 46?
Yeah.
The one that describes the hypothetical scenario of experiencing even the slightest touch of hellfire.
Oh yeah, the breeze of punishment. That one really stuck with me.
It's a perfect example of how the Quran uses de-emphasis to create a powerful effect.
Okay.
The verse intentionally uses understated language. Words like masat, the weakest verb for touch,
Right.
and nafahatun, a gentle breeze to describe this minuscule contact with hellfire.
It's like saying, even the tiniest taste of this is unbearable.
Yeah.
So imagine what the real deal is like.
Exactly. And then to drive the point home, the verse switches to emphasis when describing the reaction of those who experience this breeze.
Okay.
It uses strong words like layakluna, they would surely say,
Okay.
with extra emphasis, and yadwailana, woe to us.
It's a brilliant technique. First, you downplay the punishment to make it seem almost insignificant.
Right.
And then you amplify the reaction to show how truly horrific it must be.
You've got it. And this is just one example. The Quran is filled with these subtle yet impactful rhetorical devices. They're like hidden treasures waiting to be discovered.
It really makes you appreciate the depth and complexity of the Quran's language.
It does.
But for those of us who aren't fluent in Arabic, how can we even begin to grasp these nuances?
That's a great question. Even if we don't master the Arabic language, being aware of these features opens up a whole new dimension of understanding. It encourages us to look beyond a simple translation and appreciate the artistry and intentionality behind the Quran's words.
It's like we're given a glimpse into the mind of the author.
In a way, yes. We begin to see the deliberate choices that were made to convey a specific meaning or evoke a particular emotion. And who knows, maybe it'll even inspire us to be more mindful of our own use of language.
Absolutely. If a text from centuries ago can be this sophisticated and multi-layered with its use of language,
Yeah.
it really makes you think about the power of words to shape our understanding and inspire us.
It's a powerful reminder that language is more than just a tool for communication. It's an art form capable of moving us, challenging us, and connecting us across time and cultures.
Well said. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the art of the grammatical shift in the Quran.
It's been an incredible journey exploring these linguistic wonders.
We've gone from God's voices to audience switches, time twists, and hidden layers of meaning,
Yeah.
all thanks to the magic of grammar and rhetoric.
Absolutely.
I hope this deep dive has inspired you to look at the Quran with fresh eyes and a deeper appreciation for its literary brilliance.
Me too.
And if you're eager to unlock more secrets hidden within the Quran, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing and those words flowing.